the terrorist groups, whether it's ISIS or Saudi al-Maqdis, you name it, they are targeting Sinai, and they deserve full attention by a full leadership in Sinai.
And of course, an interesting thing as well, the recent attacks in Sinai were not really condemned by a lot of human rights watch organizations that constantly have something to complain about.
That reveals who are those human rights organizations are fighting for. They are fighting for other countries, for other accounts, for other beneficiaries, not for the Egyptian people. They are funded by the enemies of this country, not to defend the people, all rights, all human rights. They are fighting for foreign agendas against the greater will of Egypt and the best interests of the people. They can concentrate on a killed victim here and there, but what about the soldiers, the greater soldiers on earth? You can never launch a statement. You can just launch statements and the file is closed. What about those victims? What about those martyrs? True martyrs. We have the least doubt that a soldier in Egypt, when he's killed, he's a martyr. We have not a moment of hesitation to call him a martyr.
The line of duty in protecting his country.
Exactly. Other people or elements who die just here and there on the wrong side of confrontation, they are taking the full attention of those organizations.
Indeed. The Egyptian forces, the army and the police have been under scrutiny and they have been targeted by these terrorist groups.
Of course.
And President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi now in his address to the nation said that the most important thing is the morale of the Egyptian security forces, and he also mentioned before that not a lot of news was released about the killings, for example, of security forces in order to maintain the other army personnel's morale. How important is this, especially because the president touched on the role of the media as well?
This is a very clever strategy to be taken, of course, by the military in Egypt, not to declare the victims or the casualties, to keep the morale of the Egypt and the army. But sometimes, from time to time, people need to know.
Transparency.
And it's not the need to know, but they need to know that they must realize. It's not the passionate knowledge. No, we need to realize that we have an army that is fighting for us and sacrifice its life for us. And he's not taking price for the sacrifice. He is fighting for his life. Who is fighting for his life is not a bodyguard. He's fighting for his life for no price.
For his country. Really.
For his country. To be a martyr. To meet God as a martyr.
Mr. Amr, you yourself are a journalist as well, and let's talk a bit about the role of the Egyptian media during this current period. How important do you think is the role of the Egyptian media, not just in upkeeping the morale of the Egyptian security forces and the Egyptian people themselves, but also in being very accurate in what is reported, making sure that their sources are trustworthy, and accuracy in reporting is very important, because now throwing around rumors or incorrect numbers, for example, of martyrs, and the media itself is a very important, it is the fourth arm of the state, it is a very important tool right now for the Egyptian people.
Well, I believe that the official television has took the role and carried out its role as expected to be after the June 30 revolution. But away from this building, we have witnessed greater mistakes taken by those who claim that they are supporting the revolution and the people in June 30. They are playing the role of the enemy in disguise. They are claiming that they are taking the transparency policy in the so-called media. But they are trying to divide people. They are trying to make the people's conscience hesitate to take the same decision and to keep the decision, the Egyptian decision taken in the June 30 revolution. They are trying to distract our attention by very bad causes and bad strategies, and I believe that they have to rethink again and think over again about this situation, and they must realize that the people now do not believe in what they present. And I wish the people go there by themselves and know the truth. They shouldn't rely on those channels. They must know the truth by themselves, to go in the streets and know who is the enemy. Look by their eyes who is trying to make the bombs and cultivate bombs all over the country.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also mentioned that some countries have succumbed to the fight against terrorists, and he mentioned a few and reiterated that Egypt will not be one of those countries and will continue to fight till the last drop of blood in the last Egyptian person, soldier or security source fighting. The importance of such a promise, especially in the upcoming period, that this, as you said, is not just a once-off attack, but it is a string of attacks, and we have seen previously several attacks on Egyptian army forces as well as the police, and this is another one, but on a bigger scale.
I told you before, this is war. This is not a greater thing against or something. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is trying to remind us again that we are at war. We should never forget this, at least for 2 years to come.
And this is all the result of the Egyptian people's stance on the 30th of June revolution that decided that no, we will stop and turn things around.
Yes, that was not a small revolution.
Absolutely.
It was a greater revolution in the history of humanity.
Indeed.
Of the whole world.
And a turning point in the current situation.
Exactly.
It started the war.
We have set the symbol for all the countries in the world to turn tables against those who are trying to control our lives, our way of life, the simple way of life. God has created us as humans, not enemies killing each other. That conspiracy is turning us as one against other. Spread hatred in the world, killing religion of all countries. They need to know, they need to see the world without any religion. That's why they are fighting religion by elements and figures that is related to those religions.
Right. I'm afraid we've run out of time, but Mr. Rahman, I'd like to thank you very much, a political analyst, for joining us this afternoon on this edition of The World Today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, with that we wrap up this afternoon's edition of The World Today and our very special coverage of the recent events taking place here in Egypt. My name is Angie Meher, and many thanks for joining us.
Son histoire et sa civilisation, et c'est aussi l'Égypte moderne, celle que vous connaissez sûrement mieux que moi.
Actuellement, on parle d'information, de culture, d'art et d'histoire. L'intérêt, c'est que
grandes compétitions nationales et internationales, c'est ici que ça se passe. Retrouvez-nous sur le terrain pour des reportages qui couvrent toute l'actualité locale ici en Égypte.
Expositions, concerts, spectacles, toute la culture sur Nile TV International.
Nile TV, c'est la chaîne qui vous fait vivre à la égyptienne. Nile TV aborde tous les thèmes qui vous intéressent.